I read something this morning in Mark chapter 3. It got me thinking. If you read it, you'll see a story there where Jesus is in the synagogue, and a man came to him that had palsy. He had a hand that was not quite right. It was withered, and there was something wrong with his hand. And Jesus asked the question. He says, is it lawful to do good or to do evil on the Sabbath? Is it lawful to heal or to do harm on the Sabbath? And there was a lot of people there that had these religious views about the Sabbath, and you're not supposed to work on the Sabbath, and so it's supposed to be a day of rest, and if you heal somebody or you work with somebody, you're violating the law. And I began to think about that. When he asked that question, everyone went silent. No one answered the question. I guess because they were afraid of what the religious leaders at the time would say. Jesus called the guy forward and he healed his hand. And he did good for the gentleman. And I'm sure that the gentleman that had the withered hand that was made whole, I'm sure he was amazed, appreciative, and grateful of what God had done. But you know, it says right after that the Pharisees decided that it's time to find a way to destroy this man. And I began to realize that there are rules in life. And I'm wondering, is it better to be right or to do good? Is it better to do right or to do good? And I began to think about that. And I thought, you know, being right is based on some rules that either I or someone else have. That's whether I'm right or wrong. If someone's right, then someone's wrong. So being right is always based on rules. But being good is based on compassion. And then I wrote this sentence down in my journal. It says, it's always right to do good, but it's not always good to do right. Now, I know you can take arguments with me about that because there's different ways you can interpret that, but what I'm saying is sometimes the rule, like in this case, that you're supposed to rest on the Sabbath, but yet there's an opportunity to do good for somebody, to help them and to encourage them. And so we're going to choose to do what's right instead of doing what's good. I know as a husband early on in my relationship with my wife, I saw all these rules about how wives should act and how husbands should act and how all that should happen. And I even tried to enforce those rules. And I have to say, to my own shame, that at times in enforcing those rules, I wasn't being good. I was just trying to be right. Someone told me one time, it's hard to be right without hurting someone. But I think it's always a better idea to be good. So take some time, read through Mark chapter 3, meditate on those verses, and ask yourself, am I a person that tries harder to be right, or am I a person that tries harder to be good? Let me encourage you to be good. My definition of good is this: God. God is good. That's my definition of good. And my definition of evil is an absence of God. So in everything you do, make sure God is present, because God is good and He will help you do the good thing, and it will be the right thing.